Hello, my friends. I'm very happy to be with you, and I'm very, very excited about today's subject. I think it can change everybody's life. So, I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, Medical Director of BioCare Hospital, and I'm, as I told you, very excited, very happy to discuss this issue with you because it is very important for you to know about this. You know, I'm a doctor. I have told you many times that I'm a doctor, that I see patients, that I go to the hospital every day, that I get to talk to people, to patients, people that are sick, but also to family members, people that are around and see, just look around and see what's happening in our world. And what's happening in our world is that I see more and more younger and younger people that are sick, that have terrible diseases, that are diabetic, that have high blood pressure, that have heart disease. And many of them, they're really in jeopardy. They might lose their lives. They might die very young. They might leave children unattended, a family, a broken business. And the worst part of the whole scenario is that when I look at the problem, I see many, many, many cases where I know had they talked to me 10 years, 5 years ago, 1 year ago, things would be different. Because a lot of those illnesses, a lot of those catastrophic problems could have been prevented. They didn't have to happen. They were not in stone. They were things that many times we produced, many times we paid for. Like when you use your money to buy a pack of cigarettes. So we are producing the diseases that are killing us. And I'm saying killing us literally, because statistics show that 7 out of 10 people that die today have a disease that might have been prevented or very delayed. It didn't have to happen today. What I'm talking about is chronic inflammation, chronic degeneration, chronic immune deterioration, chronic everything. We're eroding this wonderful body of ours every day. We're making a lot of effort. We're like Venice, a work of art that's being destroyed by the same environment that it lives in. It's very much the same thing. We are eroding our foundations. We're eroding the functions, the capacities that makes us successful, that have made us thrive for many, many generations, living longer every time. I'm not saying it. It is a fact. Ever since life expectancy began to be recorded in America, we always are living longer. This year we had this number, next year is this one, and next, and then on and on and on. But about 2-3 years ago, started to decelerate, to stall, to be slower. We were not getting older as we used to. And then all of a sudden, we saw a small decline. What happened? We are not living longer anymore. Why? Because a lot of people are dying young, and that affects statistics. When somebody dies in their 50s, affects a whole lot, these statistical figures. But no matter what you see, no matter what you think, from my perspective, anyone that dies at 50 is an absolute disgrace. It is a big sorrow. We have to think of everything that a person that's 50 years old leaves behind. Children, family, friends, work, unfinished tasks. And it's a big loss. So I don't want to see that happening. And then my next question is, what do we do about it? And the more I see, the more I review, the more I read the medical literature, and you can do it too, because you probably have a smartphone, you probably have a nice computer at home, you probably have a lot of instruments to help you, and programs like this that you can listen to. And the more and more you read, the more education you get about it, the more you're convinced that lifestyle is taking us in that direction. Our lifestyle is very unhealthy. It's damaging in many cases. It's dangerous, I could say, for many people. Their lifestyle, you look at them and you know they are being threatened by a lot of things that they buy, that they use, that they do. It's our lifestyle, our chosen lifestyle. Not that anybody told us you have to live this way, you have to eat that, you have to sit on a couch all day long. No, it's our chosen lifestyle. So you say, okay, let's stop, let's rewind, let's review that. What are we doing wrong? Can we fix it? Yes, we can. After all, once again, it's our choice to live one way or the other. And in lifestyle, when you talk about lifestyle, you have to talk about something which is very important within the same frame. And that's what we eat. I hate to use the word diet because it implies a sacrifice and it implies a time frame. You say, I'm going to be on a diet for how long? No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what we eat. What are our food choices? What are our times to eat? How we buy our food? Where our food is coming from? All that is very important because it can and it does make a big difference. But it's an area that has been very neglected, that we don't pay too much attention to. And let me go to the core of the problem, why we eat so bad. It's simple. Because our parents. We were taught to eat the wrong way. And what's more anguishing to me, more worrisome to me, is that we continue to teach our children the same habits that are killing us. I'm having a heart attack, I'm diabetic, I'm gaining weight, I'm obese, yet I have my children eat the same way I eat. It is very common when I have a conversation like this with any person and I say, but why do you give your children this? Do you know what is the answer? Doctor, because that's what they like. Doctor, if I give them veggies, they won't touch them. Doctor, if I tell them to eat healthy, they don't listen to me. Doctor, blah, 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 blah. If your children don't like veggies, if your children want to eat whatever they want, whatever it pleases them, if your children, 3, 4 years old, you think are mature enough to know what are the best food choices, etc., then the problem is, and I have come to that conclusion, that's why I'm doing this program, I have come to this conclusion. It is your fault as a parent. It is your fault as a teacher. it is your fault as a caretaker. Because if I give you a plant, I just recently bought a beautiful plant. Beautiful. It was blooming, beautiful, unbelievable beautiful. And I brought it to a friend that just had a new house. What better way to start with a beautiful plant? You know, she was so happy. She was so almost overwhelmed that she immediately started talking to everybody. Where would it look better? Where would be the best place to place it? Where it would have enough sunlight? Asking questions: how you have to water it, how you keep it, how you fertilize it, how you everything. That's what we should do when we get a baby. If I get a baby, if God gives me a baby and trusts me to take care of that baby, God, I have to go to the owner's manual. I have to go to Google. I have to go to Facebook. I have to call BioCare. I have to listen to Dr. Rodriguez. God, I want to know, what do I have to do to keep this baby healthy and beautiful and be the best that baby can be? But if I just take the baby and push food in and fill it without thinking that the baby doesn't need to be filled but fed, then I'm going to have a piece of junk in no time. And I'm going to have a child that's going to be obese, that's going to be sick, that might become diabetic very young, that is going to have degenerative diseases, that will not have immunity to fight infections, that is going to develop heart and artery disease, and that will die of cancer or heart disease very young in life, probably before I die, which means I'm going to go to their funeral. I cannot think of a worse way to end a father-mother-children relationship than a burial. Because children are here to take care of us in our old age. So we have to make sure they're going to grow stronger, that they're going to grow very powerful, tall, beautiful, and will be the support in our old years. And I have answers for you. I can tell you how we can do it, why we have to go back to the drawing board and start it all over again. Don't go anywhere. I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez. I'll be right back with you. I'm back. I'm as excited as I was in the beginning. I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, Medical Director of BioCare Hospital. And if you think I'm being very passionate about what I'm talking, you bet I am. You bet I am. I was telling you that as a doctor, even you, if you're not a doctor, if you're an engineer, if you are working in the field, if you are a housewife, if you are whatever you are in life, a teacher, you know that what I'm telling you is right. We're seeing more and more people being affected by chronic inflammatory degenerative disease. Our neighbor developed diabetes. The next one has high blood pressure. The other one went to the hospital because he has a stroke. Somebody had a heart attack. Somebody has now cancer. It's going to the hospital for chemotherapy and then radiation and probably surgery and so on. All of them are very catastrophic diseases. All of them are going to change our life for the rest of it. I mean, whatever we do, everything is going to be upside down from now on. It's going to be expensive. It's going to be a lot of pain and suffering. But the worst part for me as a doctor is that it didn't necessarily have to happen. That, have you been to a BioCare health getaway for 10 days? Have you done anything? Have you talked to me? Just talk to me. Before all this happened, you might not be in the condition that you are. But now, here is the other problem, because many people say, and I have heard it, believe me, 1,000,000 times. When I tell somebody to do something right, they tell me, Doctor, we all are going to die. I'm going to die of something. So I understand that. I'm not going to be eternal. Okay. Be my guest. You can die. Please don't die when you're 50. Please don't die when you're 40. Please don't die when you're 60. Why? Because you are raising children, because you're having them through school, because you have a family, because you have a mortgage, because you have friends and projects and work things that you have to finish. I mean, when God calls us, it's fine. But we have to finish our homework before we part this world. But when you're 40, 50, 60, you're not even halfway done. And you're ruining your life and the lives of everybody around you. Much worse when you are 30, 20. We were recently talking about, for example, about inflammatory bowel disease that affects mainly people in the second, third decade of their life. That means a teenager. That means a guy in their 20s. And this is a preventable disease produced by what? We already said it. By lifestyle. But remember that lifestyle is your choice. In most cases, we choose the way we live. What we smoke, what toxins we put in our bodies, how much we drink, how much we rest, how much we exercise. All that is a personal choice. So it worries me that if we don't listen to that, if we don't take care of that, things are going to get bad. The other part, very important, within the same context, is what we eat. Because what we eat is going to make us, is what we're made of. What we eat is what you bring to the building of your house. The quality of lumber, the quality of rebar, the quality of concrete, the quality of wiring, the quality of everything you're going to bring to build your house. And you cannot be cheap because you're going to pay it dearly. So when we talk about food choices, we have to learn, we have to educate ourselves. And the more I see, the more I listen to the excuse that, Doctor, I don't feed my child right because he doesn't like the food I give him. He doesn't like healthy food. He likes his choices, which are very poor choices. And then I say, I have been thinking and thinking and thinking, what can we do if children don't like good food? What are we going to do? And then I say, I know what the problem is. The problem is how we feed our children from the beginning. We get a child and start, instead of thinking that I have been given a huge responsibility that I should be educated about, which is raising a child, I go the easy way. I see it all the time. I mean, you go and buy a jar of something that's mixing there, and then people tell me, oh, but this is zucchini and carrot. Can you go to the market and buy one zucchini, one carrot, simmer it for a while, and mix it and flavor it to your taste and give it to your child so you know it's the real thing, so you know it doesn't have any coloring, flavoring, chemicals that you don't want on your child? Is it really that difficult? You could make enough food for the whole week on your Sunday. So it's not like I don't have the time, which is the next excuse. This has been done, and you can go online and look for it. And a good dinner can be prepared in the same time it takes for the pizza delivery guy to get to your doorstep. So it's not a matter of time. What we do is that we want to sit in our couch, watch whatever junk is on TV, instead of cooking something for our family. So the problem is we do not educate our children. And we don't educate our children because we don't know in the first place. People think that children should be filled, not fed. When I see parents taking children to junk places, to junk food places, I think it's like going to the gas station and say, fill him up, fill her up. You don't care what octane. With your car, you care. If you take your car to the gas station, you say, fill it up with unleaded high octane gas, because it's a very good car. With your children, you don't care. You say, just give him whatever, fries, anything. So we have to teach them. And the problem goes back and back and back. The more I see, the more I have to go back. The problem begins with the pregnancy. You know, parents-to-be, they never get information. They don't know what they should do. I'm going to the obstetrician and he told me to take this or to take that or that I'm fine. Come on. This is the 21st century. You can go to your computer and look for things you should be doing, things you should be eating, the way your lifestyle should be to have a healthy child. You don't need an obstetrician. You don't need a pediatrician. Ask your grandmother. Ask your mother-in-law. She'll know a lot more than many pediatricians. And then you say, okay, I'm planning to have a baby. Quit smoking, quit drinking, eat healthy. Why? Because you're going to transfer many of those likes and dislikes to your child. If you don't eat well, you're going to begin with a faulty child in the first place. If you don't have a normal delivery, you're depriving your child from a healthy intestinal flora. If you have a C-section, that is what you have. And it's been proven. A child that's born by C-section, in their gut will have skin flora, not the real intestinal flora. If we don't breastfeed our children, if we don't breastfeed them, then we do not get the quality of intestinal flora. And on top of that, we give them processed, refined, these unbalanced foods. We're going to have a problem. And a problem we have because, once again, inflammatory bowel disease starts when you're a teenager. To me, I listen to people talking about very frequently, you're going to listen to quality time. We need to spend quality time with our children. But they don't know what it really means. To me, quality time is that you take your children, you take your toddlers, that you take your family, and you say, let's go to the farmer's market. Let's go to the market. Let's see what's around. Tell them about the virtues of a carrot or a zucchini or good, wholesome pasta or good, wholesome, multi-grain breads. Tell them about the virtues of those foods. And then buy them, go home, cook with them, and sit with them around a table as a family. That to me is quality time. To play ball is part of it, but will not have the impact that good nutritional information can give to your children. Then they're going to learn. Then they're going to start liking it. And you're going to see that if you go day in and day out talking about it, if you don't do what they shouldn't do. I have a very good friend that once told me a very wise phrase. Children do what you do, not what you tell them to do. So you have to start eating well yourself. You have to start changing your life yourself. You're going to get a lot of benefit, but more important, you're honoring God who gave you that child to upbring him. Stay with me. We have to keep talking. I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, and you listening tonight a program. Hopefully you're following me like every Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Truth Be Told Radio Network. But this program is also available to many social media platforms. So you can go to Facebook, you can go to Twitter, you can go to Instagram, you can go to many of them. We're always talking about health. We're always talking about what we should do. We're always talking about food and lifestyles, but we're also talking about very important deadly diseases, because that's what we do. We take care of people. But through the years, I have been talking to people to tell them you don't have to be here as a patient. You have to be here because you're trying to prevent something. You want to have a good assessment of where you are and what can be corrected, what can be changed. Because believe me, I don't want you as a patient. I want you as a friend. I want you as a guest. I want you as somebody that wants to get the necessary education, information to take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of your children, which is what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about why is it that we have so many deadly diseases that are killing 7 out of every 10 Americans? And how those diseases that are preventable, we cannot fight them off, simply because we don't have the knowledge. And when you say, I have to change my lifestyle, and when you say I have to change what I eat, I have to think that, let's face it, I'm almost 80 years old. And I have to be very honest, I probably like a lot of things I shouldn't eat. But I like them because they taught me to like them. See? There are many acquired tastes. One of them is alcohol. Children, if you give them alcohol, they refuse it. But we teach them to like it. We teach them to like things they shouldn't eat. Why? Because nature pulls you away from that. No, that's not for you. Yet we say, oh, come on, have a little drink, have this, have that. And then all of a sudden we're engaged. It's like a drug addict. Alcohol is actually a drug. So what we have to do is we have to say, okay, I have to make changes in my life. But I wish they would not have taught me to like this. And then that's when I thought, well, if it'd be a lot easier to keep a good diet, a good regime, a good lifestyle, if I had been taught a different way, then I have to go backwards. then I have to go to how you were raised. And then I thought, that's the point. We have to begin very early in life. So I don't have to talk to children. I don't have to tell children, eat this because it's good for you. No, I have to put it on the plate and say, this spinach is fantastic. I love it. I have a friend who is in a very wealthy family who had a child. But like many people, didn't take too much care of that child. But she had a maid that came from a very small town, a very poor area. And when the maid came, she was taking care of the child. And of course, what she liked is what she was taught to eat. So she loved beans, she loved like spinach, she loved chard, she loved all these things that people normally do not like. And you know what happened? This baby girl grew and looks beautiful and fantastic. And I'm not going to say it's vegetarian, because she eats a lot of things, but she basically loves her veggies and her beans and her lentils, because she grew up with somebody that ate mostly that and fed the child that thing. So she learned to like it. And today she cannot understand how her parents can like a big piece of beef. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of points, because this comes up very frequently. Every time you talk to somebody about good food and eating veggies and so forth, people ask you, doctor, but where is the protein? As if protein were the magical word. As if protein were something we cannot do without. And I can tell you right now, you're right, we cannot do without protein. But protein is a chemical group of substances different from fats, different from carbs, that has the quality of having nitrogen in their molecule. And protein comes in small little things, building blocks called amino acids. And those amino acids, we need so many of these, so many of that, so many of the other to build a human protein. So you're right, we need that amino acids, not protein. We need amino acids to build our own protein, because my protein is different from the protein of a cow or a hen or a bean. I need the building blocks to create my own protein. But those amino acids are present in beans, in chilies, in peppers of any kind, in potatoes, in tomatoes, in everything we can eat in the vegetable world. And when we combine them, we can have the amino acids from this, the amino acids from that, the amino acids for that, and I can build a healthy protein. And then I'm going to need very little animal protein, probably 1 egg a day, a little piece of cheese once a day, and that's enough. I'm going to grow healthy. Now, in the United States, only about 5 years ago, we had about 2% of vegetarians. Today, we have more than 5% of vegetarians. And those vegetarian parents are transferring their habits to their children. They're making vegetarian children. The question is, can this affect them in any way? Well, huge, important studies show that when children are given mainly a vegetarian diet, they're going to grow a little bit slimmer and a little bit shorter. Yeah, you're not going to have a giant. You're going to have a smaller person. However, when you check their intellectual, they're just the same. There's no difference. A vegetarian child can be just as smart as a meat eater. Just as smart. The only change is going to be in size. What is also changing when you change size, and you know it, you bring metabolic problems. So the chances for a vegetarian child to have metabolic problems go down. The chances for a vegetarian child, or basically vegetarian child, remember I'm saying vegetarian, not vegan, for a vegetarian child to have diabetes or metabolic problems, obesity and so forth, go down. So think of it again. You have a person that's just as smart. You have a person that's emotionally sound. You have a person that has lower chances of metabolic diseases, of inflammation. The only drawback, if you can call it that way, would be that will be a little bit smaller in size, thinner, which is a big plus in this world, and probably a little bit shorter. Other than that, you have a healthy child. I don't want to believe me. I want you to call me. I want you to ask the question. I want you to go to the social media of your choice and say, doctor, you said this. Where do you get this information from? I will send you the studies that have been done in this regard. But once again, your children will not do what you do not do. If you're going to give your children spinach and you have a soda pop and fries, they're going to want what you're eating. And I have many examples like that. But remember, you have to begin from the womb. From the day you decide you want to have a child, which hopefully you have children because you wanted them, not because they dropped. In this time and age, children don't drop off the sky. We know how we have them. So if we want to have a son, if we want to have a daughter, which is an absolute blessing no matter what, it's going to be a blessing, then we have to start taking care of ourselves, because this body of ours has to be healthy and powerful and metabolically sound in order to have a baby that's going to have the biochemical, physiological capacity to function well and to be everything it can get to be. And then I have to repeat what I said in the beginning. And then I have to thank God for that baby. And if I have to honor God taking care of my body, which is a temple of the Holy Spirit, think how I'm going to take care of that child that God has given to me. It's a sacred duty. There are no ifs, no buts. They're way out. We have to think that that child is our responsibility. We're going to take care of that child. That child is going to be beautiful, smart, loving, peaceful, with a lot of intellectual capacity, and is going to be our support in our older years. And we're going to love that child for as many years as we have on earth. Don't go anywhere. I want to keep on talking with you. I'm Dr. Rodrigo Rodriguez, Medical Director of BioCare Hospital. Very excited to be today with you because I'm talking of something that to me is very dear, which is how we bring up our children, how we take care of them. And I hope that you're tuning in Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at Truth Be Told Radio Network. But remember that if you miss it for any chance, you have a repeat program on Saturday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or you can go to Spotify and search for Truth Be Told Radio Network, where you're going to find over 150 hours of programming like this. You don't have to listen to everything, but you can choose. You can jump from one place to the other. And if you're driving or if you're commuting, you have the chance to listen to it and hopefully get some ideas, some education, some conversation themes for the day. And if you have any questions, I'm in just about every single social media that you can go to. More than I can remember, more than I can tell you. I have people, very lovely, beautiful people that help me with that. And they say, Doctor, let's do this and let's do that. And probably you can share the feeling with me, many of you. It goes beyond our understanding. The cloud, the everything, it really goes beyond of what we know about the world. So, but it's very interesting and it's very important because it allows us to be in touch, to be talking. And I will please encourage you to do two things. One, to join me, to follow me. The other one, to ask a question, to send us a comment. I will get right back to you personally because I love to talk to people. That's what I have learned very early in my medical career, and I have more than 50 years as a medical doctor. And one of the things that I learned is that I have to share all this with people. I have to tell people about this. Because it used to be when I started medical school that we had tuberculosis as a big problem. It killed a lot of people. We have infectious diseases in children. You know, in Mexico, 1 out of every 2 children died before the 100-day anniversary. And I was listening yesterday that in South Korea, they make a party, a welcome party to a baby that turns 100 days. Because it used to be the same thing. Half the children died before the 100th day. And that was because of hygiene and infectious problems and so forth that you have to fight this way or the other. But I could see how the scenery was changing, how we were getting sick by our own hand, how we were bringing diseases to our own selves. We were getting very fat. We didn't have any physical activity. We started smoking. I grew up before cigarette smoke was vilified as it has deservedly been. Nobody talked bad about cigarette. It was the time where a magazine would show the best actor or actress, puffing some smoke. And that was very well accepted. But you know, ever since I can remember, I hated cigarette smoke. It affected me a lot. I could not open my eyes. I could not breathe. It always produced cough. And it was really bad. I don't know if I was allergic or what, but I hated it. If I saw some smoke, I went a different way. When I was a teenager and I started going to discuss or gathering places, I always left because I couldn't stand cigarette smoke. So when I started looking at the laws that change all that, where I could get on an airplane without having to smell smoke and go to a restaurant without having to smell smoke, to me was a blessing come true because I hated it and I love my clean air and I love to breathe in and out. I love to open my eyes and read without any tears or anything like that. So I love it. But because of the same situation, I could see that there were not only cigarette smoke, it was sugar, it was fructose, the high fructose syrup, it was the bad fats, it was the artificial sweeteners, the artificial coloring, the chemicals, the stabilizers, the preservatives, you name it. Food was turning into a very bad thing. And it's not that I'm saying it, it's that I'm looking at the evolution of every one of us in the last 50 years. 50 years ago, I was already in the doctor's office. I was already seeing patients, and I have seen it in 50 years. How we have more and more people that come here, and from the minute you open the door, from the minute they sit down, you can see that you have a huge person in front of you. And then they start telling you the symptoms. And you know them. You know them, they're going to be short of breath. You know they're going to be diabetic. You know they're going to tell you that they have ulcers in their feet. You know they're going to tell you they have high blood pressure, etc. Because you're looking at this. And every time I tell people, you have to change your lifestyle. You have to change the way you eat. They say, Doctor, but that's what I like. And I don't want to be the type of doctor that fights with you. I have to convince you. But when you're 40, 50 years old, it's very hard to convince you that you have been wrong all your life. So what I thought is, let's go back to the drawing board. Literally. Let's go to the children before they're born. I want to talk to those people that want to have a child. They are the ones that have the capacity to change the world. If you're thinking of having a child, think again and see what you have to do. Because we know about folic acid, we know about food, we know about toxins for women, but you know what? Men can also be an important factor. So if you want to be a father, you better get your homework done and know what you can and what you cannot do, because it can affect your child. Then when you have your child, you have to learn how to take care of your child, how to bring him up, how to feed him, how to take care of him, how to take care of infections, how to build their immunity, how to keep inflammation out of their bodies so they get to be what they can be. But all that has to come from you. You have to be proactive. You have to educate yourself. Because just by chance, I check on a popular search engine, and I want you to do the same thing and ask just one simple question. What do American children eat? You're going to be not surprised, but it's just going to reinforce what I'm telling you. You're going to find all the bad food. And some of those foods are not bad in themselves. Let me give you a very simple example. Pizza. If you know how to do a pizza, how to make a pizza, if you choose your ingredients, it's like whole multi-grain bread. You can make a wholesome multi-grain pizza pan. And then you use real tomato, real cheese, real ingredients, oregano, chili pepper, whatever you like. But don't use cured meats, which are very popular. Do a margherita pizza, which was created for a noble person in Italy whose name was Margherita, but she was a vegetarian. So they did it with basil and with cheese and tomato and oregano. So there are many options that you can do to have your cake and eat it too. But you have to go to the kitchen, you have to cook, you have to learn. And once again, if we're talking about quality time, what better than to make some dough with your children? Prepare the tomatoes. You don't have to use any fancy things. You can just crush them with your fingers and put some cheese in it and the basil leaves. Put it in the oven And they're going to have a lot of fun. They will remember that for the rest of their lives. If you can prepare a very nice salad, if you can prepare a bruschetta, which is another Italian thing where you use just a little bit of wholesome bread toast with tomato and basil and oregano and olive oil and everything, show them to eat well. Show them the benefits and the flavor of olive oil. Show them the benefits and the flavor of vegetables, of wholesome breads, etc. So you have to start somewhere, because then you're going to have the children you want to have. And you know what? You're going to be saving a lot of money, because your children are going to be a lot healthier. They're not going to be with infections every time. They're not going to be asthmatic. They're not going to have anything. Asthma, for example, is very much connected with vitamin D supply during the pregnancy. Did you know it? No, you don't. Now you know it. Once again, if I want to have a child, why don't I sit with my spouse and say, we want to have a child? Let's get the best child on earth. Let's learn about it. And right now, with all these search engines that you have a lot of access to a lot of things. But I'm going to tell you something even better. Call me. Call BioCare Hospital. Send me an email. Contact me on any of the social media of your choice. Why? Because I have a kitchen that I go to every single day. Yes, I go to the lab. Yes, I go to the patient's room. Yes, I have a lot of things to do with the pharmacy. But I go to the kitchen every day for probably 1 hour and see what's cooking, literally. And where they bought the ingredients, and what are we doing for people. I'm getting ready for Thanksgiving. So call me. Our cooks are available. Our nutritionists are available. Our doctors are available. I'm available to answer all your questions about raising a child. I want to see you next week. Follow me.